2 miles beneath the surface of the Atlantic, where darkness reigns eternal and currents whisper secrets of the past, lies a place of quiet routine, long forgotten. Here, passengers once washed, refreshed, and prepared for another day aboard. The world's grandest ship, unaware that disaster was imminent. Now only shadows of porcelain, rusted taps, and encrusted bathtubs remain, suspended in the cold silence of the deep. This is the Titanic's public bath, where the last baths were taken before the Iceberg struck, April 1912. The RMS Titanic was more than a ship. It was a floating palace, a marvel of engineering and human ambition. Among its many luxuries and amenities was a public bath, a haven for third-class passengers who sought hygiene, dignity, and a moment of solitude during their long voyage. The bath was a room of meticulous design. White porcelain tubs lined in rows, polished brass taps and steam-filled air created a warm sanctuary against the chill of the North Atlantic. Tiled floors, smooth and patterned, reflected gaslight by day and electric lamps by night. Wooden benches, soap dishes and towel racks completed the space, providing comfort and routine for hundreds of passengers seeking relief from the ship's journey. Here, lives intersected quietly. Mothers bathing children, men washing after a day's labor, and weary travelers briefly escaping the confines of crowded cabins. This room was ordinary in function, but extraordinary in the care it afforded its users. More than a century later, deep-sea explorers descended to the Titanic's wreck. Through robotic cameras and submersibles, the bath emerged from darkness like a ghostly sanctuary. Rows of porcelain tubs, coated in rust and marine growth, still held their shape, some tipped over, others partially filled with silt. Brass taps, corroded yet recognizable, glinted faintly under lights. Wooden benches, warped but intact, suggested hurried use before the tragedy struck. Small ceramic soap dishes were scattered across the floor, and fragments of towels lay encrusted with salt and coral. The scene was surreal. A room once filled with warmth, now suspended in eternal cold, frozen in a moment that would never continue. Historians and researchers note that Titanic's public bath was more than hygiene. It was a microcosm of human routine, dignity, and ritual. Even on the night of April 14th, some passengers may have sought the baths to cleanse themselves after dinner, unaware of the iceberg looming in the darkness. Every fixture tells a story. A hand that turned a tap, a foot that stepped into porcelain, a mother smoothing a child's hair. Ordinary acts of life suddenly halted by fate. The bath became a silent witness to human vulnerability, preserved beneath the waves as both monument and memorial. Explorers uncovered astonishing details. A tub, upright but encrusted in coral, seemed to glow under the submersible's lights. Brass taps, though tarnished, bore intricate engravings, evidence of the ship's attention to detail. Soap dishes and towel hooks, twisted by time and pressure, still clung to the walls. Fragments of human life remained. Tiny ceramic fragments, perhaps from a child's bath. Rusted metal knobs shaped for hands long gone, patterns in the floor. Tiles that reflected the meticulous care of their creators. Even in decay, these artifacts conveyed a haunting sense of intimacy, a human presence frozen in a watery tomb. The Titanic's public bath is more than a collection of lost objects. It is a narrative of fleeting human comfort, preserved beneath miles of water. Steam and warmth once filled this room, mingling with laughter, soft conversation, and the simple universal act of washing. Now, silence dominates. The water hums. Through the pipes and floor tiles, stirring silt that drifts like smoke. The light of submersible torches reveals echoes of past routine. Tubs lined neatly, benches tilted as if someone just stepped away, and taps that will never again feel a hand. Despite corrosion and decay, the bath retains its story. Every bent hook, every cracked tile, every encrusted faucet is a silent witness to the lives of passengers. What conversations were held here? Which travelers sought solace after a long day? Who washed for the last time in these tubs, oblivious to the looming disaster? The bath is both ordinary and extraordinary, a space of routine now transformed into a time capsule, a ghostly archive of humanity and vulnerability. The Titanic's public bath reminds us that even the smallest rituals are precious, and even in luxury, life is fragile. The care lavished on hygiene, comfort, and routine was no shield against fate. Yet, in the preservation of these artifacts, there is poetry. They speak of daily life, of human decency, and of the intimate habits that define existence. This room, abandoned and underwater, is a testament to those who lived, washed, and prepared for a future they never reached. Today, the sunken public, Bath exists as a silent monument beneath the Atlantic. Porcelain tubs, brass taps, towel racks, and soap dishes tell stories of routine interrupted, of lives forever paused, of a world suspended in the cold dark. It is a space of both tragedy and intimacy. Here, the ordinary act of bathing becomes extraordinary, a reminder that even the simplest human moments can hold meaning across time. The Titanic's public bath waits quietly, preserving memory beneath the waves, a ghostly sanctuary, a frozen narrative, and a haunting echo of human life in its final hours. In this cold, eternal ocean, it reminds us, even the mundane is sacred, and the stories of everyday life can survive even the most unimaginable catastrophe.